In the age of expansion and ambition, people pushed deeper into lands long ruled by the sky. From the open plains of the Midwest to the sun-drenched coast of Florida, settlers and dreamers built homes, towns, and cities where the wind and the sea had always held the final say. Every foundation laid and every dream pursued came at a price, paid in lives when the heavens turned violent. Where a single funnel of wind could stay on the ground for hours and carve a scar across 3 states. Where a hurricane's eye could swallow an entire city in darkness and surge. Where even modern engineering could be torn apart in minutes. Tonight, we descend into 3 of history's most devastating storms: the tri-state tornado, the Miami hurricane, and Hurricane Andrew, where the hunger to build and expand invited nature's fury, and the wind and the rain claimed their due. March 18, 1925. Across southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, and southwestern Indiana, factories were running, schools were in session, and towns moved through an ordinary workday. Then, without warning, a massive tornado touched down. In an instant, entire communities were changed forever. At the time, the danger didn't seem unusual. Spring storms were common, and tornado forecasting barely existed. There were no radar systems, no warning sirens, and weather alerts often arrived after the storm had already passed. In towns like Murfreesboro, Illinois, people were eating lunch, working in factories, and sitting in classrooms when the sky suddenly turned dark. Some mistook the approaching roar for a train. Then around 1 p.m. it hit. A massive funnel up to a mile wide tore through towns at speeds exceeding 70 miles per hour, flattening homes, ripping rail cars from tracks, and hurling debris like shrapnel. Entire neighborhoods were erased in seconds. From Annapolis in Missouri through Gorham, Murfreesboro, DeSoto, West Frankfort, and Parrish in Illinois, to Griffin and Princeton in Indiana, entire communities were obliterated. Murfreesboro suffered the deadliest blow with large sections leveled, while many towns lost over half their structures. Thousands of buildings lay destroyed across the 3-state path. Fires raged through the wreckage, and rail lines were twisted into steel knots. The human cost was staggering: 695 people killed, more than 2,000 injured, and tens of thousands left homeless, making it the deadliest tornado in U.S. history. Later investigations revealed a terrifying truth. The tornado's extreme speed and long, largely continuous path outran any chance of warning in an era with no forecasting system. The event challenged meteorologists' understanding of how far and how long a single tornado could endure. The tri-state tornado still matters today. It exposed the deadly consequences of early weather forecasting's limitations and heightened awareness of tornado threats, paving the way for future advances in science and safety. A stark reminder that nature can reshape history in a single afternoon. September 18, 1926. At the growing coastal city of Miami, Florida, residents slept while others worked late in hotels, rail yards, and docks, serving the booming real estate capital. Then, in the pre-dawn hours, the wind began to rise in sudden, violent gusts. Soon, Miami's future was changed forever. South Florida was in the middle of a massive land boom. New homes, hotels, and apartments were being built rapidly to keep up with surging demand. Many structures were wooden or lightly constructed, with little reinforcement and no real preparation for the force of a major hurricane. Weather forecasting in 1926 was severely limited. Storm tracking depended on scattered ship reports and basic land observations, creating large gaps in data and leaving little advance warning time. As late as September 17th, many residents remained unaware of how powerful and imminent the approaching hurricane had become. Then, around 6 a.m. on the 18th, the Category 4 hurricane struck Miami directly. Winds estimated at over 140 miles per hour tore roofs from buildings and collapsed entire structures. A massive storm surge, peaking at 11 to 15 feet along Biscayne Bay, flooded streets, sweeping homes, vehicles, and debris inland. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed in hours. The destruction was catastrophic, Large sections of Miami were flattened. Communications were completely cut off as power and telegraph lines fell, isolating the city from the outside world. Rescue workers and relief teams searched through the debris for survivors and victims. The human toll was devastating. At least 372 people were killed, though the true number may have been higher due to the chaotic aftermath and transient population. Over 6,000 were injured, and more than 25,000 people, up to 43,000 in the Miami area, were left homeless. Investigations revealed that rapid development, weak construction, and limited forecasting had left the region dangerously exposed. The storm exposed how vulnerable coastal cities were to powerful hurricanes, and how quickly prosperity could be wiped away. In the aftermath, Miami adopted the nation's first comprehensive building codes to prevent future disasters, while the land boom collapsed entirely, plunging South Florida into economic hardship. The Great Miami Hurricane of 1926 remains one of the most destructive storms in U.S. history, a chilling reminder that even the fastest-growing cities can see their prosperity shattered in a single morning when they fail to prepare for nature's wrath. August 24, 1992. At the edge of Homestead, Florida, many residents who had not evacuated were asleep as emergency officials monitored a rapidly strengthening storm just offshore. Then, in the pre-dawn darkness, the winds surged with unexpected fury. In moments, South Florida was changed forever. Forecasters at the National Hurricane Center had tracked the storm for days. Hurricanes are common in Florida, and many believed their homes, built under existing codes, could withstand a major strike. Modern forecasting provided advance warnings and time to prepare, yet the storm's rapid intensification caught many off guard. But hidden weaknesses existed throughout the region. Many homes had poor roof connections, weak structural bracing, or construction that often did not fully meet hurricane standards. These flaws remained invisible until exposed by extreme wind. Through the night, emergency workers monitored radar as the storm closed in. Families sheltered in interior bedrooms, hallways, and closets. Outside, the wind steadily intensified, and power began failing across entire neighborhoods. Then, at 4:40 a.m., Hurricane Andrew made landfall near Elliott Key as a Category 5 hurricane. With sustained winds of 165 miles per hour, the storm tore apart buildings in seconds. Roofs ripped away, walls collapsed, and entire neighborhoods flattened by the unrelenting force. In the aftermath, entire communities were left unrecognizable. At Homestead Air Force Base, massive damage rendered most of the 2,000 buildings unusable. More than 1.4 million people lost power. Rescue teams, including FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, deployed to search destroyed neighborhoods and deliver aid. Hurricane Andrew claimed 65 lives and left more than 175,000 people homeless. Over 63,000 homes stood destroyed, with another 124,000 severely damaged. The total cost of damages reached $27.3 billion, surpassing every previous natural disaster in U.S. history up until then. Investigators later determined that the extreme winds exposed widespread construction weaknesses and poor enforcement of existing building codes. In response, Florida completely overhauled its standards, adopting a unified statewide Florida building code in 2002, creating some of the strictest hurricane-resistant requirements in the world. Hurricane Andrew proved that preparation alone was not enough. It exposed hidden vulnerabilities in construction and enforcement, and forever changed how hurricane-prone regions build, plan, and survive. Unearthed Hidden History. Unearthing new stories weekly. Follow or subscribe for more.